Teenagers out of control. Hello, y'all. I'm Diana Brienne. Well, I don't talk a lot about, raising kids and things like that. And yet I have raised three of my own. And I can tell you, I know a lot about parenting. And I'm not a parenting expert. I'm just a parent who has lived the journey. I have three wonderful young adult children. And so far, so good. And they have kind hearts, they're gentle, and they're thoughtful. And my kids actually have never smoked, they've never drank, and they've never participated in drugs. And so they are really wonderful young people. Now, I'm not trying to paint a picture of a perfect family or anyone perfect. I mean, we've had our difficulties and challenges, and we've had a lot of them along the way. And I think most parents of teenagers have, and of varying levels and varying kind. But what about teenagers that are out of control? What about teenagers who are basically dictating the rules of the home? Often what I have seen is it has happened to parents who are absolutely amazing parents, parents that are great parents, parents that have done all the right things. So don't necessarily blame the parent when you have an out of control teenager. It can happen to anybody. So there's no blame to put on anyone, including the teenager. And yet, there's got to be somebody in control of the home, setting the boundaries, setting the rules that are fair and right. Okay? If we're too hard and we're just hardlining it all the time, we're going to meet up with a lot of resistance and rebellion. But if we're too compliant, often we're going to get run over, and there's not going to be any harmony in that home. I've known parents that felt that they were hostages in their own home being run by the teenagers. And it can happen. It can happen. And those parents were wonderful parents. They raised them wonderful in every way. They had a wonderful home life. The kids were very, very blessed. Were the kids spoiled? Maybe, maybe they were spoiled. And yet I don't think in the situation that I knew that those kids had been spoiled directly by the parents, but I think that they were given opportunities, they were given love, they were given kindness, they were given guidance, they were given the parents time. So those parents had done everything right. And I think when you're doing everything right, you often stand a much better position to go through the teenage years much better. And yet teenage years can be challenging because, well, it's a complicated time. Teenagers they're not little kids anymore, and they want to find their own way, and they want to make a lot of their own decisions, some of which they're capable of, and some, in my opinion, they're not yet capable or mature enough. Often teenagers don't have the people skills or the knowledge to know which relationships are right and which are not. That's where the parent comes in. And that's important to set the foundation early on of trust within the parent-child relationship, that the child can trust the parent and trust that parent's guidance. And parents do need to know what's going on in their kids' lives. They do need to know what's going on in their teenagers' lives. And they need to know who they're talking to, who they're listening to, who's influencing them. There can be great influences and there can be bad influences. I've known many teenagers that have gone down a very, very dark road. Years ago, I remember this couple got a divorce and the mom had to go to work. And, in my opinion, the divorce, I don't know the inner workings of their marriage, but it was kind of an unnecessary divorce. I think the parents could have worked on their marriage and saved it, but that's only my opinion. And like I said, I don't know what the inner workings of that relationship was. But nonetheless, those kids began to have behavior problems because now they were living separated Part of the time they were with the dad who was running around with different women, and the mother, when they lived with her, the kids were always in an apartment during the day. The teenagers were, they left later after she went to work to go to school, and sometimes they didn't go to school. Often they didn't. I think drugs became involved in their situation. And both of the boys ended up with severe drug problems. And they were in and out of rehab for years and years. And I think one of them still is struggling really hard. And I think a lot of that could have been avoided. I understand single parents it's a very big challenge. And yet, as a parent, we've got to stay on top of where our kids are at in life and how they're doing and be there to guide them. And it is important who they're around, because if they get wrong influences, their peer pressure is stronger than any parental pressure. And yet we don't want to make it easy for them to get into the wrong relationships, nor do we want to make it easy for them to watch or listen to garbage that is going to fill their mind up with things that are not right for their life or things that they can't handle at this time. And so truly, I believe it's hard to be a parent of a teenager sometimes. And for me, I loved the teenage years, and yet they were challenging. I had, we cooked together, we baked together. We really didn't watch much TV. We really, we did things, and we did projects, and I homeschooled. And I have to tell you that there were challenging moments. You get the sassing and I'm not going to do what you say type of thing and all of that. So I've lived it. I've been there. I understand it. I understand my teenagers had minds of their own, and they often were going to do things that conflicted with what I felt that they should be doing. And yet, I allowed room for them to make their own choices and own decisions, unless I found that they were doing something that was not going to be in their best interest. And then I let them know. And I did keep tab on who their friends were. I did keep tab on what they watched, what they looked at on the internet, and I made sure to spend plenty of quality time with them. And when we got in the car, we didn't listen to music or anything. They listened to mom's wisdom. We were always having conversation about everything, any topics that they thought about or I thought about that we should be talking about. Fortunately, my kids never took drugs. They never smoked cigarettes. They never drank alcohol, and they still don't to this day. And so I'm very, very, very grateful. But I do know that some parents have teenagers that are absolutely out of control. My heart goes out to you. I think to get the right professionals sometimes is key to helping you get through and navigate that time. Sometimes it takes a third right voice to say what you want to say or what you've been saying for your teenagers to listen. Sometimes they're just not going to listen to you. That's why their friendships are so important, to make sure that their friendships, that third voice that has a lot of power, that peer pressure, is going to be a positive one in their life. That they're picking and choosing friends that are great quality, that are doing great things in their life, because who we hang out with does affect us. Our friends reflect who we are. Our close friendships reflect who we are. We can be polite and nice to everybody, and yet our close friendships are who we're probably matching up with, because they're reflecting who we are, and we're reflecting who they are and what they're doing and what they're about. So their friendships play a powerful role in their life, okay? So my heart goes out to parents who are dealing with teenagers that have out of control issues. I believe in getting the right professionals to help you guide and navigate through that. Remember, professionals comes in all shapes and sizes, and not all are good. And so you want great ones, and you want ones with values and morals that are going to help influence your child, your teenager, in the right direction. Okay, remember the schools, teachers have a struggle. They have a struggle with, students today, because often the administration isn't backing the teacher up, the parents aren't backing the teacher up, and a lot of the teenagers are out of control at school. So it's important to be a great parent. Remember, you are the parent. You're not the child. Okay, you are the parent. You want to be fair, you want to be kind, you want to be loving, you want to be gentle, and yet you want to be the parent. And you want to make sure that you're not leaning into things that they shouldn't be involved in just because you want to have a good relationship with them. I never approved of something that was wrong. I approved of the right choices. Okay, from my house to yours. May God bless you. I hope you like, share, subscribe, and I hope to talk to you soon again. Bye-bye.